This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 23rd day of April in the year 2025. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here is what we're tracking tonight. 2 weeks after declaring that the U.S. government has full confidence in Guyana's leadership with a visit of 3 secretaries of state in 4 years, Guyana's Attorney General Nandlall is now firing off at the U.S. government over its latest International Drug Control Strategy report, which was released by its State Department on Monday. The report flagged the law enforcement agencies in Guyana for corruption and bribery, and highlighted nepotism in the public sector and political entities as complicating the fight against money laundering and narco trafficking in Guyana. The report described the Guyana police force as a weak link in the fight against money laundering, while noting shoddy investigations and the lack of adequate prosecutions. In a response to the report last evening, Attorney General Nandlall demanded evidence of corruption among public officials in Guyana. He said any statement linking money laundering to corruption among public officials must be substantiated by empirical evidence. Mr. Nandlall stated that in many of the cases, proportionate and appropriate actions were taken against the individuals, noting the ongoing case against former Assistant Commissioner of Police Calvin Brutus. Nandlall said for the report to attempt to link money laundering to the holders of public offices and corruption without citing the cases which have led to that conclusion is simply speculative.
Once we have evidence of corruption, in particular in relation to public officials, actions are being taken and will be taken. And I cited the case of Calvin Brutus, and we cited the case of Calvin Brutus to the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force, and the assessors did a case study of Calvin Brutus' case. They examined the allegations and they examined critically the investigation that was done, the advice tendered by the Director of Public Prosecutions, and the charges instituted. The entire symposium studied that case. They studied 4 cases from the Caribbean, including Brutus' case, which we submitted. And we said, judge us, this is an investigation of a high-ranking state official, to wit, an Assistant Commissioner of Police. And this is the type of work that we have done. We submitted ourselves for examination and scrutiny. And in the end, we got the Best Case Award.
He said Guyana has repeatedly demonstrated its intolerance to corruption, especially relating to public officials, once the evidence is made available. Nandlall noted the 2024 sanctions by the U.S. government of the Mohammeds and their companies, and the government's disengagement of doing business with them. He said information that was passed on to the Guyana government has since been forwarded to the relevant agencies to conduct full investigations. Government Permanent Secretary May Thomas was also sanctioned by the U.S. government over bribery and other claims. She remains on administrative leave, and it's unclear what probe is being conducted of the claims against her by the U.S. government. The Attorney General said he's both surprised and disappointed with the information contained in the U.S. State Department report. He noted the recent appraisals of Guyana's anti-money laundering regime and it being given a clean bill of health by the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force. He said there is no need for anyone to speculate in relation to Guyana's anti-money laundering credentials, since those were recently examined over a period of 18 months in a mutual evaluation exercise conducted by the most premier regulatory body in the hemisphere, the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force, CFATF. He made similar comments on his program last evening.
And that is why only last month, an Article 4 mission from the International Monetary Fund examined Guyana's AML-CFT credentials and framework. And they made a finding which they published in their report. And I will send out their findings. I don't want to read it to bore you, but in there they give a long 2 paragraphs on Guyana's AML-CFT framework. And they made reference correctly to CFATF's assessment. And they saluted Guyana, this body, this Article 4 mission from the IMF. They saluted Guyana on the accomplishments that we have made in our AML-CFT framework and credentials.
On the issue of lack of convictions in money laundering cases, the Attorney General said it is common ground that government has no control over the determination of cases. He noted that the government adheres strictly to judicial independence and the doctrine of separation of powers. He said the anti-money laundering structure can ensure that matters are investigated, charges are filed, and evidence presented, but there is no control in respect of the determination of those matters. The Attorney General said since the government took office in 2020, the volume of investigations and charges have greatly increased, noting that there are currently 298 money laundering charges with 1 conviction obtained. He said given that money laundering matters are complex and usually involve detailed financial analysis and reporting, it is not unusual for cases to take some time to be completed, especially given the importance of ensuring that money laundering is prevented. In his statement, the Attorney General also noted that in Guyana, law enforcement has also been using tools related to combating money laundering, such as freezing, restraint, and asset forfeiture, to ensure that assets are not disposed of or dissipated by charged and accused persons. And upon conviction, these assets can be made available to the state to further improve the crime-fighting capabilities of the country. On the issue of drug trafficking, the Attorney General said the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit has been involved in making some of the larger drug busts between 2024 and this year, adding that there has also been increased training for staff and personnel in law enforcement and the Office of the DPP. The U.S. report noted that money laundering in Guyana has grown into a systemic issue involving both public officials and private citizens, and is often linked to corruption and organized crime. According to the U.S., the local gold mining sector continues to be a contributor to money laundering, explaining that gold smuggling in Guyana often facilitates money laundering as persons would use illegal gold sales to disguise illegal funds and bypass the regulations. More news coming up in just a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. It can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Linden, it's big people time again. Go Mosley Entertainment presents the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. Big Oman Gasha Things. On Wednesday the 30th of April at the Mackenzie Bandstand with one-man bands Super Rain, Errol, and Murphy, plus the one-woman band Queen Diva and DJs Killer Miller, Water Dog, and Bad Boys. The next day is a holiday, so party the night away all night on the 30th of April at the Mackenzie Bandstand. Get your early tickets from Shemaine's Bar in the Mackenzie Market, Professor Cuts and Retrieve, Barnes Taxi, and Dominique's Top-Up Shop on Republic Avenue. The Linden Town Week Big People Party 2025. Big Oman Gasha Things. Compliments of One Communications, Banks Beer, Guinness, XM Rums, 592 Teas, Fireside Grill, and Sheriff Security. Please drink responsibly.
She said, take it easy, I will do the good. You don't have to.
much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Keeping up with the kids' growth spurts might mean it's time for a bigger fridge. Don't worry, at Quartz, we've got you. Save up to $50,000 on select fridges. Get a free grill or mixer with select stoves and more. Need to upgrade your home? Get smart TVs from as low as $32,999. Plus, shop today and pay later. And make your first payment in 30 days with Quartz Ready Finance. Whatever you need, we've got you. Only at Quartz, bringing value home. Offer ends April 23, 2025.
Drive home your brand new Honda vehicle today. When you buy a brand new vehicle, it's 0 miles, 0 worries. Plus, you get awesome features that will help make your ride smooth and comfortable. Marex offers in-house financing on our Honda City and HRV with down payments of 25% and monthly payments for 3 or 5 years. Conditions apply. Visit our website or call us on 226-1482 to learn more. Buy your brand new Honda vehicle from Marex, the home of Honda in Guyana.
Mobil Delvac Heavy Duty Lubricants. With more than 90 years of experience and innovation, Mobil Delvac is a recognized leader in advanced heavy duty lubricants. Discover how the state-of-the-art Mobil Delvac technology can help protect and extend the life of your diesel engines. Mobil Delvac, the trusted brand for many successful businesses. Protect your fleet and keep your vehicles on the road and out of the shop. Helped by Mobil Motor Oils. Distributed by Sol Guyana Inc.
Golden Tasty Food and Bar presents the wildest, most unforgettable party called Cement Body. Calling all nieces and crew to Four Corner on Friday the 25th of April for its annual construction party. Party like no other with music by DJ Fearless and Saya, DJ Ruti and Curry, and live performances from Super Ray, and Lord Dog. It's Golden Tasty Food and Bar annual construction party called Cement Body. Enjoy kitchen specials all night. Please drink responsibly. Girl, just jiggle that cement body.
Welcome back. Tonight, the Alliance for Change, the AFC, is calling for the establishment of an independent police oversight authority with wide-ranging powers to investigate ill discipline by members of the Guyana police force and recommend penalties. The call by the AFC comes in the wake of the recent police killings of Ronaldo Peters and Keon Fajane in Linden. The killings are currently being investigated by the Regional Security System and the Guyana Police Force's Office of Professional Responsibility. But the AFC leader Nigel Hughes has frowned on those investigations.
An oversight police authority will be a separate, independent body established, hopefully under the Constitution, that does not report to the police or the minister, but it will report directly to the National Assembly. It will have a commission. It will be civilian-led. In other words, the police are not allowed to appoint anybody to that commission. And that commission will have full oversight and authority with the power to subpoena witnesses, with the power to conduct searches, with the power to subpoena evidence, and there will be penalties for failure to do that. They will have their own investigating arm. They will have it will be an entirely separate arm of the state that is capable of investigating police misconduct in whatever form. That is a completely different animal from what exists now.
The opposition party now wants the National Assembly to establish the Police Oversight Authority. The AFC is proposing a resolution to be laid in the National Assembly at its next sitting, calling for the immediate establishment of the Independent Police Oversight Authority, a civilian-led body with full powers to investigate police misconduct and recommend criminal or disciplinary action. He said this is not an attack on the police, but it is a commitment to justice and accountability for victims and their families, and for the many honorable officers who serve with integrity and observe public trust. The AFC will be moving a parliamentary resolution on the issue and is proposing to have a 12-member independent authority appointed by the National Assembly with no current or former law enforcement officers. The resolution will also call for investigative powers, including subpoena authority and access to all relevant police evidence and body camera footage. Further, the AFC says if its resolution is accepted by Parliament, the authority must be mandated to report regularly through community engagements and also wants its funding to come through the National Assembly, independent of police control. The AFC is hoping for the support of other members of the National Assembly with its resolution. Attorney-at-law and Chartered Accountant Christopher Ram has issued a pre-action notice to the Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat and the Commissioner of Information, retired Justice of Appeal Charles Ramson, regarding their failure to comply with requests made under the Access to Information Act of 2011. In a statement today, Mr. Ram said his requests date back to December of 2021, when he originally sought access to critical documents related to the signing of the 2016 Petroleum Agreement, which was signed by the coalition government. He said requests have been made for information on the January 2020 report prepared by Clyde & Company regarding the 2016 Petroleum Agreement, the escrow letter referenced in the bridging deed dated June 29, 2016, information on payments made from public funds to Clyde & Company, and details of public expenditures relating to escrow arrangements under the bridging deed. Ram said more than 3 years later, after those requests were made, both the Minister of Natural Resources and the Commissioner of Information have failed to provide any response. He said the information requested relates to the expenditure of public funds and is of continuing national concern. Continued failure to comply is not only a statutory breach, but also an affront to the transparency obligations that the Act was enacted to uphold, Ram said. The pre-action notice gives the officials 14 days to provide a substantive response and a written explanation for the delay before legal proceedings commence. He said planned court action will seek declarations of the statutory breach, mandatory orders for disclosure, and potentially personal costs against the officials for deliberate evasion of their statutory obligations. Mr. Ram believes that the documents are crucial for public understanding of agreements made by the former government related to Guyana's oil resources, which represent significant national assets and involve substantial public funds.
Golden Tasty Food and Bar presents the wildest, most unforgettable party called Cement Body. Calling all nieces and crew to Fort Corner on Friday the 25th of April for its annual construction party. Party like no other, with music by DJ Fearless and Saya, DJ Ruti and Curry, and live performances from Super Ray, and Lola Dog. It's Golden Tasty Food and Bar annual construction party called Cement Body. Enjoy Guinness specials all night. Please drink responsibly.
Girl, just jiggle that cement body. GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by June 30, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Where to apply for registration? You are required to visit the GCOM registration office that is responsible for the registration of persons in your area of residence to apply for registration. Office hours, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 12 and 13 to 16 hours 30. Friday, 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 15 hours 30. The offices will be closed on weekends and holidays. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at another address since you were registered. This registration exercise will end on May 30, 2025. For more information, contact the GCOM on 2250-277-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
Need small appliance for your kitchen? Giftland have it. Need fridge or stove? Giftland have it. Speakers or laptop? Giftland have it. I'm telling you, Giftland have everything. And don't get me started on TVs. 58-inch, 65-inch, 70-inch, 75-inch. All sizes in leading brands. Best thing about it, they give a warranty. Man, Giftland is the place for all your electronics purchases.
Washi. Hi people, washing made so easy since I found Washi. Washing me use wash me clothes and I can say Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder leave me clothes smelling nice, of course. So give thanks to Washi soap powder for doing my laundry right. Keep my clothes color bright, have my clothes smelling nice for sure. I could not ask for more. Comes in lemon and original. It is a washing machine in a pack. Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder have my clothes smelling nice, of course.
Distributors located in the Starbrook Market.
Buster presenting the new 500 milliliter. Wow, Buster flavorful. Make every meal better. Grab a Buster for drink, Buster move. Taste this. 500 ml, that's it. Buster for this, that's cool. Buster 500 milliliter is a brand new choice of me drink with my food. Vibing every munch, that's smooth. Introducing the new Buster 500 milliliter. Grab a bottle with your lunch today.
Purple Arts Productions presents A Treat for My Mother 8, an evening of golden oldies with Bunny Alves, Sean Buller, Charmin Blackman, Ronald Green, Barbara Lee, Sharon Cadogan, Ian Nelson, Antoine Gonzalez, Michelle Gobin, and more dance group and others. Golden jewelry for the best dressed mother in purple on Mother's Day Sunday, May 11 at the National Cultural Center. Tickets $3,000 and $2,500. Directed by Simone Dowding.
The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization UNESCO is working with Guyana with the hope of having the country ratify the UNESCO 2003 Convention for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage. Guyana's ratification of the Living Heritage Convention would mark an important step forward in the safeguarding of the country's cultural heritage and that of the region. A three-day workshop on the UNESCO 2003 Convention for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage opened today at the Herdmanston Lodge, with Yuri Peshkov, the Cultural Program Specialist at UNESCO Cluster Office in the Caribbean, speaking on the importance of preserving the country's intangible cultural heritage. The officials said the loss of cultural equality often results in the loss of identity and ultimately affects the way in which people relate to the world. Culture, he said, is therefore critical and should be preserved, adding that it provides a sense of identity and belonging. According to Peshkom, Guyana's ratification of the Convention for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage could serve as a driving force for the preservation of the country's cultural heritage.
I think that the potential ratification of the Living Heritage Convention by Guyana would be a critical step forward, acknowledging the importance of safeguarding its precious heritage on the national level and thereby contributing to advancing national sustainable development.
UNESCO's Living Heritage Convention proposes 5 broad domains in which intangible cultural heritage is manifested: oral traditions and expressions, performing arts, social practices including rituals and festive events, knowledge and practices concerning nature and the universe, and traditional craftsmanship. Making a case for Guyana, art and culture expert Al Crichton said the workshop is taking place at a time when some of Guyana's intangible cultural heritage are fading away, and in some cases have become extinct. Citing a number of examples, Mr. Crichton said, while wake and dig dutty are still practiced in Guyana, only fragments of the ring games and masquerade bands are visible.
And in fact, when you come to Guyana and you look at the performance of masquerade in Guyana, there are no longer bands performing on the road. You see fragments and remnants, but you no longer have bands performing on the road.
He said Guyana, like other countries around the world, is facing major threats linked to progressive developments, including but not limited to technology and the increasing use of social media.
We are facing major threats, and these have faced major threats over recent time. And some of these threats have come from what some may regard as some of the more progressive developments in modern society. Technology, the technological age, the new alternative sources, the new alternative modes of entertainment, and particularly the very powerful social media. And these things have had a devastating effect upon the survival of intangible cultural heritage in Guyana in particular, and clearly in other parts of the Caribbean and of the world.
Crichton also said it is therefore important to grab the attention of young people to halt the march of the disappearance of many items of cultural heritage. UNESCO's global facilitator David Brown said in 2016, UNESCO conducted a needs assessment on safeguarding the country's intangible cultural heritage. He said it was found that while there were a number of government ministries and departments, as well as organizations and groups, including the National Trust, established to preserve the country's cultural heritage, they were largely disconnected.
Despite the vibrancy of the Guyanese culture, however, there was also observed at the time a lack of cohesion and channels of communication among state agencies, community groups, non-governmental organizations, and the media in the process of safeguarding the country's intangible cultural heritage elements. So you did find that there were groups that were preserving ICH, but they weren't communicating, they weren't speaking to each other, so you didn't have a cohesive whole. That's not unique to Guyana, and it's not a criticism. It happens in Jamaica, it happens in Trinidad, it happens in Barbados, St. Lucia, everywhere we go.
He also said it is UNESCO's intention to show how the institutions and organizations can work as a collective to safeguard the country's intangible cultural heritage, noting that the benefits of the ratifying of the 2003 convention are numerous, with opportunities for organizations to access funding through UNESCO. At the end of the workshop, a declaration on the way forward is expected, along with the formation of a National Intangible Cultural Heritage Committee. Guyana National Commission for UNESCO and Marundo Incorporated are among the organizations involved in the workshop. Attorney General Nandlall has fired off at leader of the Alliance for Change, Nigel Hughes, who reportedly told Londoners on Sunday that the investigations into the police shooting of 2 young men in Linden 2 weeks ago might be compromised, and they must demand, among other things, an independent forensic investigation to be done. The regional security system and the Guyana Police Force led the investigations into the killings. The file on the killing of one of the dead men has since been sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions for advice. The probe of the other killing is ongoing. During his program last evening, Mr. Nandlall said the regional security system has been doing investigations in many countries, and those investigations have not been questioned.
Nigel Hughes is a lawyer. He knows all of this. Yet, he is quoted in the press as making the most reckless, irresponsible, and inflammatory statements. And these are not isolated statements. These are statements that Nigel Hughes has consistently shown a proclivity for publishing.
The Attorney General has challenged the AFC leader to produce the evidence that he has to show that the investigations have been compromised. He believes all of the processes were followed and the investigations were well done.
This is not a knee-jerk process, and that is why every time this guy speaks and everything he does demonstrate beyond a shadow of doubt that he cannot be anywhere close to government.
But Mr. Hughes today clarified his statement, saying that a similar investigation was done into the killings in Region 10 back in 2012, and there were no actions from those recommendations. He said he was cautioning that such must not reoccur. He said the people of Linden have not forgotten that they were promised accountability once. They will not be fooled again when the same police force, unchanged, unrestrained, continues to execute citizens with impunity. Demerara Distillers Limited has issued a voluntary recall of a specified batch of Topco 1 liter unsweetened orange juice. The recall was prompted by customer feedback which the company received last week, indicating a deviation in the standard sensory profile, both aroma and in taste, of some unsweetened orange juice products. DDL explained that based on the feedback received, tests were conducted, and the decision was made to recall from the trade all Topco 1 liter unsweetened orange juice recently produced in batches 1, 2, and 3. The company's Senate tests have confirmed that of the entire Topco 1 liter range, only the unsweetened orange juice product has been affected. The recall was officially initiated last Wednesday. DDL is urging consumers who have purchased the Topco 1 liter unsweetened orange juice from the identified batches to return the product to their place of purchase for a full refund.
A powerful movement is coming to shift Guyana, the Guyana we know as the breadbasket of the Caribbean. It's the land of many waters. It's the land of 6 races, all unified under God. Hope is rising, a call to prayer, a celebration of unity and peace and God's grace on all Guyana. Hope is Rising is returning after many years and will feature global sensation Sherwin Gardner and Emrand Henry, along with top Guyanese gospel artists and musicians.
These things, they are making me stronger. I come to you with my arms wide open. If my pillow could speak, it would tell you how I will.
You're invited to Hope is Rising, a global 24-hour prayer culminating with an evening of worship and praise with Christian leaders standing together on May 9th at the National Cultural Center. All tickets are free and registration is required. Seats are limited, so book now. Christian leaders, gospel artists, churches, and people of Guyana from all regions. We urge you to come together to celebrate and pray to God for this great nation. Hope is rising, and God is pleased.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. It can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyoil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyoil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyoil has now repositioned itself as market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
Linden, it's big people time again. Go Mosley Entertainment presents the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. Big Oman Gasha Things. On Wednesday the 13th of April at the Mackenzie Bandstand with one-man bands Super Ray, Errol, and Murphy, plus the one-woman band Queen Diva and DJs Killer Miller, Water Dog, and Bad Boys. The next day is a holiday, so party the night away all night on the 30th of April at the Mackenzie Bandstand. Get your early tickets from Shemaine's Bar in the Mackenzie Market, Professor Cuts and Retrieve, Barnes Taxi, and Dominique's Top-Up Shop on Republic Avenue. The Linden Town Week Big People Party 2025. Big One Gasha Things. Compliments of One Communications, Banks Beer, Guinness, XM Rums, 592 Teas, Fireside Grill, and Sheriff Security. Please drink responsibly.
She said, take it easy, I will do
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Svetlana Marshall in the region. The TNT Police Service, TTPS, is investigating potential threats aimed at disrupting the April 28 general election, according to Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. This was revealed by Acting Commissioner of Police Junior Benjamin during a media briefing at the Police Administration Building in Port of Spain. He confirmed that the authorities had received certain intelligence suggesting a possible disruption was being planned. He warned that the TTPS has zero tolerance for anyone who has intention to disrupt the electoral process. Benjamin described the warning as a riot act of sorts by the authorities, signaling that they are ready to deal with any situation that could arise. Claiming that Trinidad and Tobago is known for holding fair and violence-free elections, he expressed hope that this would continue with the upcoming election next week. Focusing on law enforcement preparations with just days remaining before polling day, Benjamin noted that the necessary manpower resources had already been deployed in the lead-up to the election. Brazil, which hosts this year's United Nations Climate Summit, has a main goal of persuading Europe, China, and other developing economies to commit to cutting greenhouse gas emissions enough to keep global warming well below 2 degrees Celsius. 3 people with knowledge of the country's plans told Reuters. Brazil's President Luiz Lula da Silva and UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres have scheduled a closed online meeting today to talk with leaders from the world's 35 biggest economies about stronger commitments. Brazilian Ambassador and COP30 President André Correa do Lago was in Beijing last week, where he discussed national pledges with Chinese officials. He said that bringing NDC in line with the Paris Agreement was not a strictly Brazilian goal, because each nation sets its own target, but Brazil was encouraging countries to get there. This year's Global Climate Summit, COP30, hosted in the Amazonian city of Belém in November, marks the 10th anniversary of the Paris Accord, when signatories agreed to limit warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius from pre-industrial levels. And finally tonight, international news. The Trump administration would look at lowering tariffs on imported Chinese goods, pending talks with Beijing, a source familiar with the matter told Reuters on Wednesday, adding that any action would be in conjunction with negotiations and not made unilaterally. The source's comments followed a Wall Street Journal report citing people familiar with the matter that the White House is considering cutting its tariffs on Chinese imports in a bid to de-escalate tensions with Beijing. China tariffs could come down to between 50 and 65%, the paper said, citing a White House official. President Donald Trump, since returning to White House in January, has ramped up tariffs on Chinese imports to 145%. Trump has not made a decision, the journal said, adding that the discussions remain fluid and several options are on the table. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall, wishing you a pleasant evening.